It has been such a long time since I've made any kind of new wardrobe for my studio. I think it was like sometime in early October last year. I don't even know. It's just been like so long, but it is time. Mostly because I found some inspiration on Pinterest, where all good things come from, and I think it would be really fun to have and to actually figure out how to make it. Now, I'm sure you've seen this before, but it's those wet look outfits. I think they're super fun and interesting and just genuinely cool to look at. I'm also very aware that I think I'm behind on this trend because people have been posting about wearing this kind of thing to Coachella for a couple of years now. Do I think this is going to be comfortable to wear? Absolutely not. I think it's going to probably have some sort of sticky element, or it's just not going to feel great against your skin, but we'll find out. And honestly, it's a photo shoot outfit, so you're only going to wear it for like a half an hour, and it doesn't actually have to function very well. It doesn't have to feel very great. I just need it for a couple of pictures, and then you can just take it off and change into your next outfit. So it's not a big deal. So let's talk about how it's made. From my research, I have found 2 different ways that you can actually put this together. Well, I guess there's actually 3. The first is with silicone that is safe to sit on your skin. The second is with resin. And the third is actually more of like a transparent warbler kind of thing. But that stuff is expensive, and we are not doing that today. Plan on doing both, and maybe the warbler one eventually, but we're going to stick with the one that I actually have stuff for and can do right now without going to the store. So that means we're using resin. Now, to be honest, this doesn't look like it's going to be that hard of a project. I have literally everything I need to do it. The only thing I don't have is a mannequin, which is going to be kind of difficult because this is basically built on a mannequin as the base to keep it all together so it can dry or cure correctly. So I guess that means I have to do the old wrap your body in plastic wrap and tape and maybe figure it out that way. Okay, let's talk fabric. I have tons of fabric sitting in my storage over here, and there's so many pieces that I have that are just remnants of other projects. Something like this that I used for my Bridgerton dress, I think maybe a year or so ago. And I also have this whole bolt of tulle that I had plans for but did nothing with. So I think that these are going to be the things that I end up using. I also think that using the tulle might be really cool to have kind of like a transparent corset with maybe like some gemstones and stuff and maybe painted. I don't know. Very much working on that idea, but that could be really cool if I end up doing something with it. But for now, let's get ready with the plastic wrap part because I think that's going to be really hard for me. There's no one in here or anyone to ask for help, and I think that's going to be really hard. So let's get that out of the way. It actually wasn't too hard to do, but the big problem I had was taping it up. I ran out of tape and then tried to use duct tape. Not sure if resin will stick to duct tape or not, but it's what I had. Okay, so I have something set up. It's not really how I think I should be doing this, but it's what I'm going to do because it's here. So there is a layer of plastic wrap over top all of the tape, and then I have more plastic wrap layers underneath this. So hopefully we'll be fine. So I guess that means I can go ahead and mix all the resin and get this on here. Can't see anything. I'm not exactly sure of the best way to do this. I could just take all the fabric and like ball it up and then like put the resin on it. I think that might be the best way. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna ball it up and I'm just gonna like start scrunching places together and hope for the best. So this obviously was a bad plan. That needed to be stuffed or something to hold it in place, because as soon as it started shifting around, I panicked. I put on a ton of plastic wrap around a mannequin that I have that's not really a mannequin. Then I draped the cloth over it. It was a very intense 20 minutes. Then I tried to work really fast to make sure everything looked okay-ish. Okay, let's talk about what happened. It's been a couple of days. I wasn't here yesterday to check in on anything. You know, girls gotta work and take care of clients. So I was excited to get in here and pull that off of the mannequin. It's not really a mannequin, but we're gonna call it that. And you guys, this thing is very cool. So it definitely has the wet look still, like everything still looks like it's wet. It's very shiny. But it also, because it has that, is very see-through still. So I'll just have to keep that in mind when using it in sessions because I don't want to do that on purpose if we're not supposed to be. There are some things I need to figure out though. Like the inside of it took the texture of the plastic wrap that it was laying on. The second thing is that the sides of this look a little wild. Like this one looks like it was just randomly placed. This one has a lot of drips on it. I'm sure I could have done a better job at making sure that didn't happen, either the drips or that, and also the inside of it matching the same textures of the actual thing it was laying on, but I felt so rushed getting it on there. Like, the whole thing wasn't actually that hard to do, but the fact that I tried to use a different mold that wasn't actually like filled in any way and then put it on top of it, I think that was the problem. I should have just figured out a way to get the mannequin, because as soon as I picked up that fabric to move from one thing to the other thing, I could like feel it starting to get warm, and once the resin starts to kick, you really have to make sure that it's in its spot and stop touching it. But really, by messing with both of those things, I took away a lot of my working time with messing with the fabric. All good lessons that I needed to learn for this project. Your first pancake might not be the best pancake. I'm going to figure out how to finish this up and get this project photographed. But like, seriously, this came out super cool. My go-to for connecting it in the back was to add some grommets. Some of them didn't really stay in there, and some of them worked great. Then I cut and sanded the edges and laced it all up. We are completely finished with this project, and like, that was a very easy little project. So I know I've said this before, but there are, now that I have worn it for a little while, there are some things that I would do different for the next one. So let's talk about them. So specifically, along the edges of the wrapped around portion of the, we'll call it a corset, it wants to let go of the corseting. Even if it has a grommet in it, it still wants to basically rip through the fabric. And maybe that's because it's like the type of fabric that I used. But I think if I'm going to do this again, because I'm only probably going to use like really thin fabrics, I think it needs to be like tripled or doubled in fabric, like the edges, so that I have like clean cuts or clean pieces of fabric that I can push through. And I think that will also help with the next issue, which is when I cut the edges of the fabric to be straight and not drippy or weird, they became very sharp, which I kind of thought was going to happen, but I figured I could maybe like sand them down and it would be better. Well, even if I sanded it, it's better, but like, you can still feel it. So that is something I think that by rolling a couple pieces of fabric together and flattening it out will really help with. So it'll be stronger for the corseting part, and it'll be less painful wearing it. I think for the next one too, I might just try and use a trash bag over top of it. I'm not sure if that will stick to resin or not, but like, I want to not see the plastic wrap running through the back of it. I would rather that be nice and smooth, because you can kind of see it through the outside. It's very noticeable on the inside, but you can kind of see like the grooves and markings of the plastic wrap and how it was sitting on it from the outside. From farther away, I don't think you'll notice it, but you definitely see it when you're close up to it. And I'm not sure that it actually is like a bad thing, but I would rather it just be completely smooth and look more like it's just wet versus there was something also there. But that is why we experiment. I also want to work on maybe the placement of certain things next time that I make it. There's a piece on the left-hand side that's just up a little too high. I think that needs to be smoothed down a little bit more. Again, more thought out on placement, because I was rushing so much when I put this together. So a little bit more pre-planned, thought out things before I actually go dipping the fabric in resin. But do I think this is going to look extra cool in pictures? 100%. This is going to look so cool in pictures. I need to figure out the right bottom or pieces to kind of style it with, but alone by itself, it's still really, really fun and really cool, and I can't wait to get it on someone who is not me and test it out later. But honestly, I think for my first time for this, it came out really well, and I could definitely wear this out somewhere. I would want to maybe like figure out how to make it less sharp on some of those edges and maybe a little bit more comfortable, but I could wear it out and it wouldn't be a big deal. It would actually be kind of dope. Let me know in the comments how you think that you would style this particular top. Like, what would you wear with it for the accessories? What pants or what bottoms would you put with it? Or would it be a skirt? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you next time.